Space is an element of art by which positive and negative areas are defined. Or it could be about a sense of depth in a work of art. The shapes created in the spaces between shapes are referred to as negative space. There's an image here. What two images do you see within this picture? Let's have a closer look. The image on the left is exactly the same as the image on the right. However, the black on the image of the left looks like a vase, whereas the black on the image on the right looks like two people facing each other. Can you see that? A great example of this is artist M.C. Escher. This is called Sky and Water 1. Look closely. At the top, you can see birds flying, but at the bottom, you can see fish swimming, with the positive and negative space being shown in black or white. Can you see how they change and morph as they get to the top? It's quite confusing because our brain sees sometimes the negative and sometimes the positive. Here are some more examples by Escher. On the left we have a red Pegasus, a horse with wings. But if we look closely, is it a row of cream Pegasus with wings? Are they red? Are they cream? They're both there. The positive and negative shapes are giving us different images of the same thing. The one in the middle, we see some green lizards, and then we see some red lizards, and then we see some cream lizards. In fact, there's no real negative space. It's all been taken up. Then the one on the far right, we can see horses walking in one direction, and then they're walking in an opposite direction depending on which one your eye catches. Because it's almost Valentine's Day, I'm going to show you how to make a lovely, colourful Valentine's Day card using positive and negative love heart shapes. For this, you'll need a piece of black paper, A4 size, folded in half, and then 2 pieces of A6 size paper. A6 is an A4 page cut into 8 equal sections. I've chosen red paper, but I'll also show you how to decorate paper using red, orange, yellow paint or red, orange, yellow colouring pencils. You'll also need some scissors and some glue. First of all, to prepare your painted background, if you want to, I've just used some old household paint, so old wool paint from some tester pots. So I start off with my water pot and my paintbrush, keeping my paint quite watery, and I just dab on a little bit of red paint. Washing out my brush, I then dip my paintbrush into orange paint and start to dab it next to the red. You'll see if you use enough water that the red and the orange will blend together. I wash my brush out again, and this time dip it into the yellow paint, and in the blank spaces I add yellow paint. Now the most important thing is that you work all the way up to the edges, covering those edges. I've put a piece of scrap paper behind my work so that I can freely paint on the background as well without making too much of a mess. You can even use some tissue paper to dab over the top to create a nice blending effect. All I need to do now is let it dry. Another option, if you don't want to get out your paints today, is to use a red, orange and yellow colouring pencil. And you can colour anything you like. You can colour in lines, scribbles, you can think back to the lesson we had last week and add dashed lines, dotted lines, doesn't matter. All you need to do is colour all the way up to the edges. Alternatively, you can colour the whole thing in. Here I'm going to go from red to orange to yellow. Don't forget to put some scrap paper behind your work, and that means you can colour all the way up to the edges without making a mess. Start off with some card. Black is best, but any colour will do, and then fold it in half. Because I only had paper, I've put a piece of black paper on the outside and a piece of white paper on the inside to make it stronger. Take your red card or your painted card and check that it fits into a quarter of the page. It's best to have parents help you cut these rectangles out first. These will be the A6 size rectangles. If you use the painted rectangle, make sure it's dry before you cut anything else out. Push the work to one side. Take your smaller piece of paper and fold it in half. Make sure you know which side is open and which side is closed. We're going to draw half a love heart, but half a love heart looks very much like the number 2. But you don't need to add the tail to it. Watch me. The number 2, making sure that I'm leaving enough space around the edge, but when I cut it out, I don't actually need to cut this line here. With the paper still folded, cut out your half a love heart. Just check that you're cutting on the closed folded side and not the open side. Open it up and you'll have a love heart. Now don't throw this piece away because we now have a love heart in our negative space. The top is the positive space and the bottom is a negative space. You're going to repeat this again using the second piece of paper. Fold it in half, and if it is the painted piece or the coloured in piece, make sure the paint and the colour is on the inside so you can't see it. But this time, use your love heart from before. Fold it in half, place it on the paper, and this time, draw around it. This means that both of your love hearts will be the same size. Place your love heart to one side and carefully cut around the half a heart using scissors. Open it up and you now have a painted heart with positive shapes, and open up the piece of card and you have your negative shape creating a heart in the middle. Place your hearts to one side and take your piece of card. Check that the hearts in the negative space fit. Now it's up to you how you want to display this. This is one layout. Or I might choose to swap the hearts around. I might decide that I want to turn my card around and place my love hearts the other way round. Play around with the layout before you glue anything down and see which you prefer. I've decided I want mine on its side in my original style. Next you'll need some glue. Place a piece of scrap paper down first, which means you can glue all the way along the back. Then press your work down into place. Check that you're putting the glue on the same side that you drew the pencil, so when you stick it down you won't see any messy pencil lines. As you can see, once again, I've got a scrap piece of paper underneath where I'm working so I don't get glue everywhere. I suggest that you glue both the rectangles down first and then the single love hearts in place afterwards. Carefully line up the hearts so they're the same height as the heart on the left and directly above the heart on the right. Do the same for the second heart, making sure it's directly below the heart on the left and the same height as the heart on the right. Here you go, your positive and negative shape love heart Valentine's card. You can even play around with any spare bits of paper you have by creating a positive and negative love heart on the inside of your card. Now, there's only one thing left to do.